Whoa. I mentioned in a Twitter post that I was going to start featuring people on the Thoughts On series, because by doing this, I can bring you a couple of extra viewpoints and opinions that I might miss. Today's video is with Geometry Dash moderator Edge, and we're taking a look at Hub by Jenkins GD, recorded by Viprin. I have permission for the footage, so without further ado, whoa, it's Wulzy. Hub by Jenkins is one of the most captivating levels of recent times, mainly due to the atmosphere surrounding it. Jenkins came off the back of Incipient and Zettabyte, two very challenging levels that carry a lot of energy, and has now released a much more accessible level that definitely focuses on feelings and vibes, carried very well through the effective use of glow and pulses. There's a very clear ambience all the way through the level, using the Meganeko song to its fullest, as it has many highs and lows that are mirrored in the level's progression.
Despite its simplicity on the block design side, the focus in the looks of the level is clearly the motion and flashing effects that perfectly go in sync with the song. The gameplay, while not the most consistent in terms of difficulty, also manages to capture the song's energy really well through recursive motion and frequent orb jumping. The glitch effect seems to be also quite catchy despite being common in today's levels, because it is also well synchronized to the noise in the song. Lastly, an interesting concept I haven't seen being used often is callbacks, something you can clearly see at 76%, with the intro blocks appearing in the background. It really conveys a feeling of progression, which is not something a lot of levels do.
Due to this, the atmosphere and theme in the level is strengthened, and it comes around full circle, despite the ending being a lot more intense than the beginning. In Hub, there are a lot of subtle decoration techniques to improve the spacey feel, like the sonar effect around the icon that makes it seem like you're searching for the level, especially with the searchlight effect on the blocks as they fade in, which runs in parallel with the technology gimmicks with the machines that separate each part from one another, and the glitch effects that coincide, which fit in very well. These effects don't hinder the player's vision either, which is awesome, and best seen in the UFO section, as it tells you exactly where to go while also taking away the display. The visibility is taken away due to these, but it is still super immersive at all times. The full display is often shrouded by an overlay with black glow, which covers up empty space around the edges of the screen without being too opaque, which avoids the risk of the edges looking bland. While doing this, it also prevents the glow pulses from becoming too prevalent by cutting them off at a reasonable point, because otherwise they will be overdone. Alongside this, there is often a screen above the level that induces colour or eases in a transition through a swift change to white, which brings in a little diversity in the level's tones, since it's mainly black without many bright areas. Although, I like the fact that the tunnel sections mid-level lack colour, which makes them stand out as a breaking point. It bridges parts of the same design together very well, without taking away from them, and it stops them from getting repetitive. Their lack of colour makes their following parts feel a lot more special, in unison with the glow effects there. They're also very clearly differentiated and defined as break sections, as their decoration density is obviously much less than the other parts. Also, the later parts in the level are made to be extra special and impactful through a change in colour too. The pulses in the last part also bring in some extra colour, instead of keeping the designs to one set colour for the whole part. To add to this, the level becomes full circle due to the callbacks Edge mentioned earlier, as well as the glitch effects that come in at the end. These shifts in the block movements and blacked out pulses fit right in with the glitches seen in the beginning, to go with the whole technology theme that this level follows, which overall makes this level a never-ending journey, and I like that concept. The level is very clearly split up into different segments, which all have different feelings, but are all brought together by the consistent colour depth and colour usage. The ship, cube and UFO at the beginning are designed to give the player a sense of discovery, as they have a limited line of sight and the blocks appear before them. The next segment of the level takes it a step further and sends the player through some more intense motions, split up by the colourless transitions mentioned earlier. Then, the player enters the boss fight segment, which is pretty fitting since it flows just as well as the other parts and still feels pretty smooth, despite the fact that some of the wave movements must be quite fast in order to dodge the bullets. The transitions between these mini phases of the boss aren't very in place, as they have tight jump pads which are a little harsh and quite the opposite to the motion elsewhere. However, the transition out of the main boss phase is much more smooth and original, requiring actual player input which keeps their focus on the level, especially because it's synced. This boss fight has the most depth out of all the parts, as the boss sits above with a very opaque glow shadow behind to make it the most prevalent element without a break in colour scheme. Then there are multiple more layers to the boss fight with nice windows in the back that show the stars once again, a common reoccurrence in the level. It gets spiced up with the altered cannon arrangement, which is nice and adds a bit more memorabilia to the boss. The switch from the boss into the smoother part is done very well through some nice ascension, seamlessly changing the level to be more flowy. These moving blocks are eye candy due to their fantastic easing and move timing. However, I can't help but feel that the spider is a little bit too wild in its movements because I found it very hard to read and interpret where to go, as you're often falling off of blocks. The ending of the level feels a lot more unstable, and although the level doesn't really have a climax, it still comes to a significant close through this. The movements ramp up towards the end, and it makes the journey feel worthwhile, which is essential because it's 2 minutes long. Overall, I think this level is really nice and original, with a great range of pulses and movements that fit in with the song, as Edge said earlier. Thank you for watching this Thoughts on video. I'm hoping to bring out some more with some more features in the distant future. As always, have a good day.